A young woman named Samantha heads to a party hosted by her close friend Alice. There she meets Sane, a local dealer who sells various illegal substances. It turns out Samantha has approached him multiple times in the past. Also at the party is Riley, a young man who has been in love with Samantha for a long time, but he stays on the sidelines, fully aware that Samantha is more attracted to women. The main character is upset that her girlfriend Nikki refused to come to the party. Alice notices her friend's downcast mood and, in an attempt to distract her, offers her a drink, convincing her that Nikki won't show up and that Samantha should focus more on herself and relax. After Samantha drinks too much, a stranger approaches her. After a brief conversation, they retreat to his car, where an intimate encounter takes place. Waking up the next morning, Samantha can't remember anything that happened the night before. She immediately calls her girlfriend Nikki, who explains that she had a rough day, work and couldn't make it to the party. Nikki also mentions that they can meet later. After the call, Samantha checks on her orchids, which she's growing for an important competition at a prestigious university, a win in which could earn her $100,000. We learn this detail later from Samantha's mother, who mentions that Samantha overslept for too long, which is unusual for her. During her meeting with Nikki, Samantha recounts how the party went, saying nothing special happened and that she was very bored without her. She also shares the news that her orchids have bloomed and that she's confident in her chances of winning the competition. Afterwards, Sam suggests to Nikki that they move in together, as she is tired of living with her mother, with whom she has a tense relationship because her mother doesn't accept her lifestyle. Nikki dodges the question about moving in, making it clear that she doesn't take their relationship seriously. At that moment, a stranger approaches their table and shows interest in Samantha. However, Nikki rudely dismisses him, stating that he has no chance because he doesn't meet her specific criteria, hinting at her preference for women. When Samantha returns home that evening, her mother suggests they have dinner together, during which she starts teasing her daughter for dating a girl. Fed up with the constant criticism, Samantha snaps back, saying she's had enough and plans to book a hotel room to escape her mother's ridiculous rules. The conversation ends in mutual misunderstanding, and Sam storms out in anger. At that moment, she suddenly experiences sharp abdominal pains, brushes them off, assuring her mother that it's just normal cramps. The next morning, Samantha wakes up with a terrible headache and is horrified to see that her bed sheets are covered in blood. She goes to take a shower and realizes that this is not a normal period. Something strange is happening to her body. She notices dark, unhealthy-looking veins in her lower abdomen, which causes her serious concern. After another argument with her mother, Samantha leaves for work, trying to distract herself from her thoughts. On the way, she gets a call from her friend Alice, who asks how she's feeling after the party. Sam admits that everything is a blur and that she barely remembers anything, plus her hangover has lasted unusually long. Alice, in turn, informs her that the police came to see her that morning, looking for a guy named Brand Yaffe, who was at that same party. The cops acted very strangely and didn't explain much, only asking Alice to notify the police if anything became known. However, Sam doesn't give this much thought, as she's more worried about her own problems, particularly her relationship with Nikki. At work during her lunch break, Samantha suddenly notices that the usual food she has always found delicious now makes her feel nauseous. At the same restaurant where she works, Riley, a guy who has long been in love with Samantha, walks in, hoping to talk to her and maybe finally confess his feelings. However, feeling uneasy, Sam asks a colleague to switch zones with her. Later, as she tries to serve customers, Sam starts to feel worse. She hears strange sounds and sees flashes of memories from that night with a stranger in a car. Unable to cope, she rushes to the bathroom, where her condition worsens with severe bleeding. Terrified by what's happening to her body, Samantha decides to go to the hospital immediately. When she consults the doctor, Sam complains of severe abdominal pain and a strange overall feeling. After an initial examination, the doctor tells her that her heartbeat is weak and there are signs of infection in her ear canals, but that doesn't explain the heavy bleeding. Upon examining her body, the doctor notices patches of skin affected by necrosis and asks when her last sexual encounter was. Samantha responds that it was 2 days ago, and before that, she hadn't had intimate relations for 8 months. She can't recall if they used protection. The doctor strongly recommends Sam undergo some tests and use moisturizing creams for the affected skin areas since it's still unclear what's happening to her body. Afterwards, Samantha decides to visit her girlfriend Nikki, bringing her a bottle of good wine, hinting that they've been together for 10 months. However, it seems like Nikki isn't too thrilled about the relationship. When Samantha suggests discussing living together, Nikki vaguely replies that sometimes it's good to be alone. At this moment, Sam notices a letter from a university stating that she's been accepted into a competition. Delighted, she shares the news with Nikki and adds that she needs to meet with Alice. During their meeting at a cafe, Alice notices something wrong with Sam's eye. It has turned red. Samantha is unsure what's happening to her body. In conversation, Alice mentions that the police have arrested the very guy she had told Sam about earlier. It turns out he was wanted for crimes against minors, and now the authorities are trying to locate everyone who had contact with him. Sam realizes it's the man she spent the night with but decides not to tell her friend about it. Back home, and getting ready for bed, Samantha notices that her teeth are starting to fall out. Later she becomes violently ill, and the night turns into a nightmare. By morning her eyes are completely red, and she tries to hide all signs of the strange illness. After taking a shower, Sam gets into an argument with her mother, accusing her of using all the hot water. Her mother responds that she didn't take a shower and then notices how Samantha burns her hand under the stream of hot water without reacting to the pain. This leads her mother to suspect that her daughter is hiding something again. Not understanding what's happening to her daughter, the mother accuses Samantha of returning to her old habits. Sam, irritated, leaves without addressing the argument. Before she leaves, her mother notices that her daughter's hair has started falling out, further scaring her. Samantha sinks deeper into panic. When Sam heads to the doctor, her boss calls, demanding that she come to work. At first, she explains that she feels unwell and is on her way to the hospital, but then, fearing she lose her job, agrees to go in. At the restaurant, the manager notices that something is off with Samantha, especially when she takes off her glasses, and tells her she'll be replaced in an hour. During work, Sam discovers that her nails are starting to peel off, and at that moment, there's a scream from the customers. One of the women has found Samantha's nail in her salad. Panicked, Sam runs straight to the doctor. At the hospital, Samantha frantically tells the doctor about her symptoms. He suspects it could be a sexually transmitted infection, but he can't be certain until the test results come back. He advises her to go home and avoid contact with others until the test results are in. Ignoring her doctor's advice, Samantha decides to visit Zane, an old acquaintance from a party who is involved in shady dealings. A little later, her friend Alice joins them. Finally, Sam confesses to Alice that she spent the night with a guy who is currently being actively pursued by the police. Alice is shocked and strongly urges Samantha to go to the police, but Sam refuses, fearing that her girlfriend Nikki will find out. Alice tries to convince her that the most important thing right now is to make the right decision and not worrying about Nikki, but Samantha stubbornly continues to ignore her advice. In the end, their conversation turns into a fight, and Sam leaves, feeling lost. Samantha's mother, worried about her condition, invites a psychologist home, hoping that a specialist can help solve her daughter's problems. She believes that Sam has fallen under the influence of the wrong crowd and needs help. However, Samantha becomes aggressive, just like before, and throws her mother out. After that, she heads to the university to confirm her participation in the contest mentioned in a letter she received. The guy in charge of registration notices her terrible appearance and the withered orchids she brought for the contest. Regretfully, he informs her that he cannot help. Furious, Samantha leaves and heads to Nikki, hoping for her support. However, Nikki turns her down, saying that Alice has already told her everything about how Samantha spent the night with another guy and how she's been hanging out with Zane. Moreover, Nikki tells her that she now has another girlfriend, and Sam no longer interests her. Heartbroken and in complete despair, Samantha loses control and angrily accuses Nikki of betrayal. After that, she heads to Alice, convinced that her friend deliberately ruined her relationship with Nikki because Alice has been secretly in love with her for a long time. Alice is shocked and demands that Samantha leave her house immediately, threatening to call the police. Realizing she can't allow that to happen, Sam loses control and kills Alice. In a panic, Samantha calls Raul, who has had feelings for her for a long time, and asks for his help, explaining that she needs someone who can listen to her. Seeing this as a chance to get closer to Samantha, Raul agrees and promises to come over. Meanwhile, Samantha hides Alice's body and puts on makeup to conceal her bad appearance. When Raul arrives, Sam tells him about her changes and how she needs someone who truly needs her. She manages to seduce him, and they begin to get intimate. However, the process is interrupted when worms start falling out of Samantha's body. Horrified, Raul runs to the bathroom, where he discovers Alice's body. Samantha leaves her friend's house and heads home. She calls her mom and says that she needs help, that she doesn't know what's happening to her, and that she feels terrible. The girl completely loses control of herself, blacks out at the wheel, and crashes her car. A little later, Sam wakes up surrounded by the police. Samantha's mother arrives at the scene and begs the officers not to shoot, saying that this is her daughter. However, we see that Samantha has fully transformed into a zombie and attacks her mother. This is where the film ends. I hope you enjoy our recap. Thank you and see you next time.